Introduction. In the bustling heart of New York City, a neighborhood finds itself divided. A series of misunderstandings and cultural clashes have turned a once friendly street into a tense battleground. The air is thick with assumptions, quiet frustrations, and unspoken judgments. But hidden beneath the tension is a story waiting to be uncovered, one that will challenge the way we view our differences. When a single unexpected event forces the neighbors to rely on one another, they discover something far more powerful than what divides them. Could this moment be the turning point that transforms suspicion into understanding, or will it push them further apart? In the lively, multicultural neighborhood of Astoria, Queens, diversity was both its charm and its challenge. People from different parts of the world lived side by side. Greek families who'd been there 4 generations, new immigrants from Latin America, and a growing South Asian population, among others. Everyone went about their daily routines, but beyond the polite smiles and occasional small talk, the residents kept their distance. Maya Patel had moved to the neighborhood only a year ago. Originally from India, she had come to the US with her husband, Rowan, chasing the American dream. Their life was simple. They worked hard, saved money, and enjoyed quiet weekends at home. But despite her efforts, Maya had found it difficult to connect with her neighbors. She'd waved to Maria, the elderly Greek woman next door, but the most she ever received in return was a tight-lipped nod. The same happened with the couple across the street, Diego and Elena, who seemed busy and disinterested. The only neighbor who ever spoke to her was Carl, an old African-American man who enjoyed sitting on his porch and sharing stories about the good old days in New York. As weeks turned into months, Maya began to feel a growing sense of isolation. She wanted to belong, to make friends, to understand this new world she'd chosen to live in. But every time she thought about introducing herself or inviting someone over for chai, she hesitated. What if they don't like me? She often wondered. What if they don't understand me? Then came the day that would change everything. It was late October, and the weather had begun to chill. The street was quiet, that evening to quiet. Maya had just finished cleaning up after dinner when she heard a loud crash outside. She ran to her window and peeked through the blinds. To her shock, a car had plowed into Maria's front yard, smashing her fence and coming to a screeching halt just inches from her front door. Maya's heart raced. Maria lived alone, and at her age, a shock like this could be dangerous. Without thinking twice, Maya grabbed her coat and rushed outside. Carl was already there, helping Maria to her feet, while Diego and Elena stood a few steps back, whispering nervously. "Should we call the police?" Elena asked, her voice uncertain. Maya, catching her breath, chimed in, "Is she okay? Maria, are you hurt?" The old woman shook her head, her hands trembling. "I'm fine," she muttered, but Maya could see the fear in her eyes. As the group gathered closer, they realized that the driver of the car was slumped over the wheel. Carl knocked on the window, but there was no response. Suddenly, everything felt surreal. This quiet street, full of distant neighbors, had been thrust into an emergency, and for the first time, they were standing together. "We need to call for help," Maya said, taking charge. Diego nodded and quickly dialed 911. In the tense minutes that followed, something strange happened. As they waited for the ambulance, Maya and her neighbors began to talk not just about the accident, but about their lives, their concerns, and their fears. Maria, who had always seemed cold and distant, revealed that she'd been too shy to engage with the new people on the block. "I grew up here," she explained, her voice quivering. "But it's not the same anymore. I don't know anyone. It's scary." Diego and Elena confessed that they often felt judged by their neighbors. We thought people didn't like us because we spoke Spanish at home, Diego said. Glancing at Maya, we didn't want to offend anyone, so we kept to ourselves. Maya, surprised by their honesty, shared her own struggles. I've been afraid, too, she admitted. I thought maybe I wasn't welcome here because I'm different. But I've realized that I've been waiting for someone to make the first move, when really, we all have something to learn from each other. By the time the ambulance arrived, there was a new sense of understanding among the group. The driver, who had suffered a minor heart attack, was taken to the hospital, and Maria's yard, though damaged, became the site of something far more important: a community finally coming together. In the days that followed, the street began to change. Carl, who had always been the neighborhood storyteller, organized a block party, encouraging everyone to bring a dish from their culture. Maria, with Maya's help, made baklava. Elena introduced everyone to tamales, and Maya brought a large pot of biryani. It was a celebration of their differences and their similarities, an opportunity to learn from one another. Maya and Maria became close friends, spending afternoons sipping tea and talking about everything from family traditions to their favorite recipes. Diego and Elena, no longer feeling like outsiders, started offering to help Carl with his yard work. The street, once marked by division, had become a true community where diversity wasn't just tolerated, it was celebrated. And so, what began as a moment of crisis transformed into an opportunity for growth and connection. In the end, the neighbors learned that the walls they had built between themselves were based more on fear and assumption than reality. It took an unexpected event to tear those walls down, revealing that their differences, far from being a source of division, were the key to a richer, more meaningful life together. Thank you for listening to this story on Tales with Meaning. We hope it reminded you of the beauty that comes from embracing diversity, not just in culture, but in perspectives, experiences, and values. When we take the time to understand one another, we enrich our understanding of the world, one conversation at a time.